Yo. All right, I think we here. I think we lit. I think we live and live in color. Welcome back to the channel if you're new. What's up? What's up? If you're returning, what's up? Hold on one second. Okay. So as you can see, I got into the Cataclysm beta, and I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. It was a bittersweet thing. If you've been on my channel for a little bit, you've heard me say in other videos that I played Cataclysm. That was the one where I really focused on WoW. So I kind of have a pretty decent memory on all of the things that Cat had done. Obviously, there's some things that get swept under the radar, things that I forget. But at least when it comes to rating, I have a pretty solid memory on how it played out and my enjoyment level of it. Right, even though it was about 12 years ago now, maybe a little bit more, maybe 13. But yeah, I'm on the beta, and like I said, it was bittersweet because I was like, at some level, I'm like, yo, I kind of already experienced this. So what does being part of the beta really have to offer me at this point? And in other ways, I was like, well, you know what? I tried Wrath and I played that, even though my memory on that was a little more dicey, I would say. But I enjoyed Wrath, right? So, and for its shortcomings and for things that I didn't enjoy, I would say my overall opinion on Kata, it was a pretty solid expansion. I'll say that. Like, I think it gets a lot of flack because it wasn't Wrath, right? Wrath was the peak of WoW, right? I think Wrath had 13 million subscribers concurrently, right? Which was unprecedented for any game at that time, right? I remember reading an article and it said that WoW controlled like 50% of the PC gaming community market, which again was unheard of for one entity to have that much power. So the follow up to that, being Cataclysm, is undoubtedly going to be compared to Wrath. And whether it's fair, whether it's not fair, that's just what happened. Because I do think Kata did a lot of things that was a lot better than Wrath. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. Like, it was a lot better than Wrath. And I'm not gonna go through all of it here, but like as I play and as I get back into Kata leveling and reminiscing on what was different, like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna remind y'all, like, yo, Kata did this, Kata did this. I think a lot of things started in Kata that kind of, even in Dragonflight, kind of have like a reminiscing thing in Dragonflight. Like, Kata laid the foundation for a lot of future expansions to mold upon, but it still gets a bad rap as being the first quote unquote bad expansion. So hopefully Cataclysm will dispel a lot of that, because I think when people start playing it, they're gonna remember, oh yeah, this did start in Kata. Oh yeah, I love this change. Oh yeah, la ah ah. So I think that's what's gonna happen. But I'm at the character select screen now. I got this the other day. Like, yeah, I'm only in like a day or two ago. I haven't really played it, to be quite honest. I saved a couple names. Just made a couple characters. You can't create your own character. Like, you can't copy a character from the Wrath servers on here. You can only level. So we're gonna start from the ground up. And if you haven't played Cat, I'm gonna be throwing some tidbits on what changes, like quick changes that they made. One of the big, like, I guess, box features, if you want to call that, for Kata was they did a lot of class race combinations, like new ones. As an example, dwarves on my screen here can be shamans now. Like, previously, only Draenei on the Alliance side could be shamans, but now dwarves can be shamans now. So that was one that was a pretty solid change. We all know that all classes can be Death Knight. That hasn't changed. What else was? Oh, humans can be hunters. I don't know why the human model's so dark here. I don't know what that's about, but humans can be hunters. That was another pretty welcome change. Obviously, Horde and Alliance got two new races. Alliance get the Worgen, which is like the gruff, tough-looking race for the Alliance side, and Horde got goblins, which to me always kind of mirrored gnomes in a way. Like, obviously they're short. Gnomes, I mean, goblins are always known for their ingenuity, no matter how destructive it is. So goblins get that. And goblins, even though I'll be honest with y'all, I never could play a goblin just for aesthetics. Like, I just did not like the aesthetics on either model. Goblins have some pretty dope ratios. I'm gonna be real. Rocket jump, and I mean, no one really cared about the launch rocket thing. It was a nice little cool flavor ability, but the rocket jump was pretty based. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The haste increased at the time for Kata, where haste was a really important stat. That was a really big ratio. Um, and on the flip, like if you look at the other side on Worgen's had some pretty cool ratios too. Worgen's had a 1% crit chance, and at the time, Worgen's were really looked at as the only race to have a solid throughput, quote unquote, ratio at the time. Now, I know if you played vanilla, if you played TBC, you're like, what? That doesn't even make sense. Humans had the weapon specialization, which increased your damage, and you would be correct. However, as we went through the expansions and things changed and stats changed and stat values changed and this, that, and the third, the human ratio became really less and less prevalent, to be quite honest. Like even if you look at it right here, humans went from having weapon skill to swords and maces to having expertise with swords and maces. And expertise was still a pretty decent stat, even in like Wrath. Like having extra expertise was pretty dope. It just wasn't as powerful as weapon skill. So fast forward to Kata, Worgen really looked like having that increased crit chance. A lot of classes went Worgen because crit was viewed as the better DPS thing. Even though humans had the weapon skill, Draenei still had the hit aura. Even hit was kind of a little bit on the lesser totem pole. It was a little bit better than the weapon skill thing because the hit aura was really strong. But the Worgen one, I remember at the time, people praised the crit chance increase that the Worgens got. Worgens also get Dark Flight, which is like a sprint. And Worgens can be a lot of classes, as you can see here. Worgens can be everything except Paladins and Shamans. So if you play like a Priest, right? If you play a Worgen Priest, Priests really don't have a lot of movement. So having Dark Flight really helped out. Or Death Knight too. Like I was a Worgen Death Knight in the Cataclysm, and having Dark Flight definitely saved me. The trick about Dark Flight though is not just a sprint, right? Dark Flight stacks with other movement speed increases. So it doesn't stack additively. I believe it stacks multiplicatively. So Dark Flight gives you an additional 40% increase to your movement speed. So as an example, if you're a rogue and you use sprint increases your movement speed by 50%. Dark Flight, if you use Dark Flight and sprint, you'll get another movement speed, but it won't be a 90% movement speed increase, if that makes sense, right? But it does stack with other movement speed increases, which made it pretty powerful, especially for classes like rogues and druids who already have pretty high movement speed. But if you played like a priest or a warlock who really didn't have on-demand burst movement like that, Dark Flight was pretty good, pretty good. And I'll even flip to say the Worgen ratio is probably reviewed by Blizzard anyway. This is just my guess. They were probably viewed so good by Blizzard that the Worgen ratios have not changed. Like if you go on Dragonflight right now, Worgens have these same exact ratios, which is kind of unheard of. Because if you compare to like some of the other races, like if you compare the Worgen ratios to let's say like the High Mountain Tauren ratios or the the Mechanome ratios, like the Worgen ratios are so lackluster in today's WoW. But back then, they were dope. They were the shit. But we're not gonna start with Worgen because I've heard that the Worgen leveling area is like egregiously bugged, and I really don't feel like getting stuck because I don't actually have a lot of time. So we're not gonna start with a Worgen. We're gonna start with the Paladin. I think I'm just gonna go human Paladin. I know the human area, so it should be a smooth leveling process. Let's see, what can we call you? I don't know why it's like so dark. That's weird. I don't know why every other race is regular, but the human one is like shadowed out. I don't know. That's kind of weird. But all right, let's do that. Let's change. No, gotta go dark. I'm not no white girl. You gotta go a little darker. One time for the one time. All right. Let's change the hair color. Why not? There we go. And let's see. All right, easy clap. All right, so let's move on here. Boom. And let's see. So it's going to be weird not playing with any of my add-ons. That's going to take some time, but I can zoom out. I can still do the basics, right? We can still do the basics. We can still turn on the extra action bars, right? Looks like my keybinds have stayed when I played other beta, so that's pretty good. We can still turn on auto loot, which is really good. We can still make sure instant quest text, Jesus, is turned on. Where is that at though? Let's see. It shouldn't be in social. It should be in interface. Yep, it's perfect. All right, we lit. All right, so let's just do this. So one thing that Cata did do is they revamped almost every single leveling zone. Obviously, if you're watching this and you've recently leveled something on like Season of Discovery, the human starting area does not look like this, right? We know this. The human starting area does not look like this at all. And Cata, I think, did a pretty decent job just revamping and re-engaging a lot of the leveling areas. I think it did a really solid job at that, actually. So I'm going to try to breeze through these early quests. I mean, for the most part, the early quests are still pretty familiar. Like, they are really familiar, but it's definitely a step up. But Cata did a lot of that stuff. It stepped up the leveling area. It stepped up like this, like the quest tracking on the maps and stuff like that. This stuff started with Cataclysm. This isn't questy. This is just the innate Blizzard UI thing. So you got to give Cata props where, give credit where credit is due. Like if we're gonna troll and roast Blizzard for when they do bad, we gotta praise them. We got to be fair and be objective and praise them for when they do good. So Cata system changes were pretty phenomenal. And I'll say my only gripe with I had a few gripes, but the main one with Cataclysm, I think, honestly, is Dragon Soul. I really just didn't enjoy the Dragon Soul raid. And if I do play Cataclysm to the extent of me actually raiding in Dragon Soul, maybe I'll have a difference of opinion the second go around. But I'm going to be honest with y'all. It probably is not going to change. I just did not like that raid as a whole. I'm going to be real. I did not like that raid as a whole. And that was a raid that I ended up full clearing both normal and heroic within the time parameters. Like, I was with the hard progression guild and we cleared it all out. And we did the meta achievement. So, yeah, like I experienced Dragon Soul in its entirety. And it just wasn't a cool raid to me. Like, there was a couple cool fights. Like, I liked the boat fight. Like, I forget his name, but I liked that fight. Cataclysm was okay as a patchwork fight. Like, it was like getting the boats were pretty cool. Like, that was just an okay fight to me. It wasn't nothing crazy. But the other fights I could just do without. Like, Morchok wasn't that great to me. Even like the heroic. Oh, now you get to fight two boss. Like, that didn't care to me. The beach ball boss, the one where you got to bounce the shadow orb back and forth, that one I guess was interesting. It was an interesting little mechanic. I guess it was cool, but I think it became lackluster pretty quickly. The slime boss I never really liked. I never liked that slime boss. So we're just gonna move on from that one. Spine of Deathwing was pretty cool, and Madness of Deathwing I think is the worst end boss I've ever played. I did not like Madness of Deathwing at all. I don't think that was it wasn't engaging aesthetically. It was cool jumping from platform to platform, but that was really it. It's like you jump to this platform, you kill this tentacle. You jump to this platform, you kill this tentacle. Like it wasn't what I wanted it to be. Like the Neltharion fight in Aberrus and Dragonflight, that was a way better Dragon Deathwing fight than Madness of Deathwing to me. And it's crazy because they built Deathwing up similarly to the way they built the Lich King up. So when it was time to fight Deathwing, we got that, and that wasn't cool. Like the Lich King was in your face, and I'm not talking about Wrath Classic because I think Wrath Classic is just a completely, not a completely, but it was a different enough experience that I can't really tie it to original Wrath. But if you played original Wrath, like first time in, the Lich King was in your face in almost every questing zone. at the end of like the long quest chains. He was in a lot of dungeons. He was there. He was the guy. He at some point you knew you was gonna have to face him, and he was gonna be the guy. And when it came time to fight him in ICC, that fight was great. It was a good fight. It was a really good fight. Like there was no tricks, there was no gimmicks. You weren't fighting his arm, then his leg, then his foot, then his helmet. Like you were fighting him. He was at you front and center, using all of the Death Knight abilities that we expected him to use. Like it was cool. Deathwing to me wasn't that. I'm not saying they should have made it a traditional dragon, don't stand in front, don't stand behind, but they definitely could have gave Deathwing way more justice. They should have did him better. So that's my gripe. That's my major gripe with Cat. I did not like Dragon Soul at all. On the flip to that, Firelands is one of the best raids they've ever made. Firelands was a really good raid, and I think the only bad thing I'll say about Firelands is I think it was too short. I think 7 bosses was just too short, to be honest. That's my only gripe with Firelands. Other than that, I think it was a near perfect raid. Not gonna say every single boss knocked it out of the park, but collectively, every boss felt pretty good. Like I think I won't say Firelands is the first open concept choose your own boss to fight raid, because you had a lot of raids where you could kind of just go and start wherever you wanted. Nax was like that, right? Like original Nax, you could start at any wing that you wanted. You didn't have to go to the same wing every week. But Firelands was different. I think the aesthetics made it feel more open. Like number one, I'll say this: anytime you can mount inside of a raid, always feels phenomenal. It makes it feel more open. So, and you can do that in Firelands. It makes it feel more open. And I think scale-wise, like if you go on retail and you zone into Firelands and you zoom your camera out to the max, like if you look to your left, to your right, like it's not that big of a map that you're actually fighting in, but because you can mount, because each area, even though it's the same color palette, it's the same style, the fire, the molten, the fire elemental you're fighting, all that stuff, it feels different as you progress through the raid, and it feels different, but it also feels connected. So I think Firelands just kind of knocked it out of the park as a whole. Like obviously there are some kind of lackluster bosses. I think people didn't really enjoy Raya Lift, like the hitting the leg to go this way, the hitting the leg to go that way. I thought that was a pretty cool mechanic, but I think Raya Lift was like the one that was kind of controversial. Major Domo, I could see, like, because of the strategies that were born in beating him, I could see people saying that Major Domo was a pretty lackluster penultimate boss. I could see that because he really wasn't that hard. Like if you think about it, Major Domo was probably like the third easiest boss in that place. So yeah, you could wipe on him. Yeah, it was, it had its own level of challenge, but comparatively speaking, Major Domo was not the second, like the second to last fight should be the second hardest fight in the game, or not in the game, in the raid. Sometimes the hardest, if you can look at like Stone Generals or something. Like Stone Generals was ridiculous, but Major Domo Staghelm was just not a difficult fight, and I think that's probably one of the other shortcomings that that Firelands had. Can I train both of these? Yo, I hate being poor. We're gonna do it, but anyway. Yeah, that was one of the other shortcomings. But other than that, Firelands was a phenomenal place, aesthetically, boss-wise, feel, scope, all of that stuff. I think it just checked a lot of boxes that a lot of other raids didn't. Yeah, we can put this here. Why can't I? Hold up. Lock action bars. Oh, yeah, no. We can't lock action bars. There we go. Boop. There we go. We can take you off there. What did I just pick up? I picked up Seal of Righteousness, and I picked up Judgment. Right. Yeah, this doesn't need to be right there. I can move this. This is a 30-minute buff now, so we can rock. But oh yeah, I gotta practice. With all that being said, I will say this. I will say that seeing the changes that they did in Wrath Classic kind of has me excited for the potential that Cataclysm has. Because Wrath Classic wasn't just a carbon copy of original Wrath, right? They did the hashtag some changes. And I'm hoping because of the success of Season of Discovery and its changes that Blizzard is more open to kind of dipping their feet in the water a little bit, going to the deeper end and doing a little bit more changes to Cataclysm. That's what I'm hoping. I'm not saying they need, large scale class balancing and all that stuff like that. But I would like to see just some things change up. You know what I mean? So maybe make the rogue legendary daggers a little bit stronger, because I think that was like one of the laughable things, one of the trolly things, is that the legendary daggers weren't even the best weapons that rogues could get for the time that they came out, and that was kind of funny to me. I didn't play rogue, but yeah, that was always kind of like a weird thing. Like why? Like when a legendary comes out for a specific class, it should be the best thing that they could possibly get, and those daggers were definitely not that. So I would like to see that. I know a lot of people don't really like Tol Barad. I never really had a problem with it. I thought it was, for what it was, I thought it was pretty effective. I did not like Ashran. I'll say that. And it's definitely, miles above Ashran. So I will say that. But I think Tol Barad, for what it was pretty okay. Buried and Hold, I think it was pretty cool. I think Buried and Hold was better than a VOA. I'll say that. I definitely say that. But yeah, I'm hoping to see some sort of changes come out of Cataclysm. Boom. But yeah, Kata did a lot. People are gonna realize that. People are gonna realize that Kata did a lot more changes than what they remember, and it's gonna be great. One of the big things, the guild levels, that's gonna be interesting. Like I think that was probably one of the more, if not the most liked and well received feature that Kata brought. People like the guild levels. People like the perks that you got from being in a guild. It put more stock into being in the guild. I think that was pretty successful, and I think it was, in some ways, excuse me, I think it was a little too successful. I think have group will travel and mass res and a big experience boost and like all that stuff. I think it was a little too successful. Too successful in the fact that they removed a lot of that stuff. Now, obviously, some guild perks still are in effect, right? We still have cash flow. We still have like the guild challenges. We still have all that stuff right now. But have group will travel is gone. Mass res now is just for healer classes, which I thought was a cool change. Guild levels as a whole are gone. So I think, like I said, I think it was a little too successful, just a little bit. But that was another thing that people really liked about Kata. Like I said in the beginning, I think Kata just kind of got the short end of the stick in the fact that it was coming off of the most successful expansion from World of Warcraft to date. And whenever you do anything, like whenever you, like if you are an artist and you make an album, if you're I should say musician. If you're a musician and you make an album, or if you're an artist and you paint something, whatever you do, if it's deemed as your greatest work or so highly regarded as the greatest work that you've done, whatever comes next is automatically going to be on the back foot, because it's not going to be what people loved and received and all that stuff. So Kata just kind of had an uphill battle already just based off of the success of Wrath. That's just a reality situation. So I think if Kata would have come out like after like TBC, or maybe after, I don't know where I would put Cata to be the most successful thing, because again, Cata did a lot of changes, laid a lot of foundation that a lot of the other expansions carry over till this day. So it's hard to move Cata in a different place in the expansion timeline because it laid so much groundwork down. So, but yes, it was just unfortunate. It was just unfortunate that, you know, people felt that way about Cataclysm, because it was a really good expansion that it just wasn't Wrath. And it's hard to beat that. It's like, I don't know. It's just hard to beat your greatest work. It was, I mean, I'm not saying Cata didn't have any bad points. We kind of went over that, but it's hard to it's hard to compare the next thing when the prior or the predecessor was so great. That's the problem with Cata. Dude, I got upgrades. I'm not even putting it on. Look at me. There we go. So that's the gripe with Cataclysm. I think that was really the folly of Cataclysm. It was that Wrath was too great, and it kind of overshadowed the success of Cataclysm. And I know I gotta say this. I don't know if somebody's gonna actually comment on this or not, but one thing I will say is I've seen the comments. I've seen everything about the what was it? It was the my melee tier list for Cataclysm. I know the love that Arms has and all that other good stuff. I'm gonna do a video. I'm gonna talk about it. But I guess I'll talk about it here too. So when I did that tier list, I was really going based off of, and I'm dead ass wrong for this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I was really going based off of my memory from original Cata. So we're talking 4.0 Cata, 4.1 Cata. Knowing that we're going in with 4.3 Cata, it's a little bit different, and I should have went in with that mindset. So I'm gonna do a video. I'll probably do another tier list at some point, but I'm gonna do another video just talking about it. And I know people are like, yo, you did Arms dirty, bro. Like Arms is the best. Even I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna keep it a bean stack. I talked to people who played like White Main, the Cata private server, and yeah, I was fucked up for Arms, but Arms wasn't the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like I think people are a little overzealous in their love for Arms, even though it was pretty solid. I do vividly remember Arms Mastery being atrociously broken in the fact that it did so much damage. It did so much damage. Strikes of Opportunity was really wilding on people. So I'll stay that. And I think I called it bugged in my stream. I shouldn't have did that, but whatever. I'm gonna correct my mistake. You know, a man gotta say when he was right and when he was wrong, and I was wrong in that. I misjudged Arms. We're gonna revisit that. I'm not ducking any smoke. Like I see the comments. I didn't hide the video. I didn't take it down. Like it's still there because I want to remember my words and be able to either expound or correct on them or correct them. So I'm here for that. But I see it. I see all the comments. So. Finish this quest. If I had to do that list over though, I still don't know if I put Arms over Death Knight. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. Like I'd have to look at the 4.3 patch notes again. I know in 4.3 Fire Mage really got a solid, a super solid buff. 4.3, like they allowed combustion to be critically hit. They buffed, you know, the living hell out of Pyro Blast. They did a lot for fire in 4.3, and that was in part because Arcane was just so dominant. Arcane was incredibly dominant, especially like in the Firelands patch when they got Dragon's Wrath. Arcane was just it was crazy. It was actually crazy how much power an Arcane Mage brought to a raid group. But people forget that Fire got super buffed in 4.3. Like Fire got super buffed, and a Fire Mage who's already, you know, benefiting from Hot Streak with Dragon's Wrath could clip an Arcane Mage. Like, so Yeah, keep that in mind, yo. Let me see. I guess I'm going for the 2-handed. Well, I plan to make this guy prot. Should I? Because I can't even queue or do anything for dungeons until like 15. So I might as well just get a 2-handed weapon. I'm not gonna keep the same, white one-handed weapon until 15. Hopefully not, anyway. But yeah, I'll probably do that. I'll probably do another tier list and talk about all of the things that I said in the previous stream, and then recorrect myself and stuff like that. So it is what it is. My bad. I'm gonna correct the mistake, and we keep it pushing. No harm, no foul. And there was one role that I missed. I don't think I did healers. I can't remember or not. Or did I do? I did tanks, I think, and I did melee DPS, but I don't think I did range DPS. And I gotta look. I don't remember. I gotta look. I don't want to misquote myself here, but I know there was a role that I didn't do at all, and I want to do that too. I'm about to open it up in the second page and see what role didn't I do for the tier list. I'm bugging. I'm tripping. This guy's kind of putting the beats on me. Yo, die already. Sheesh. How was it just standing there? He could have asked for an invite. Sheesh, man. What you doing? All right. You know why I didn't have my new mace out? That's wrong. I had my new hammer. See, I'm tripping. Tripping. All right, so I did a tank and a healer tier list. I did a melee DPS tier. I didn't do range yet. I knew it was one of the range. I gotta revisit the ranged. Looks like I didn't even post this tank shit either. Okay, all right, we're gonna do that. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna do tanks. We're gonna do healers. We're gonna do range DPS. We're gonna get to all of that, and we're gonna talk about the melee stuff. We're gonna get to that. So, let me see. Oh, there's a working. Someone actually made it out. Devil invites me to a guild. You know what? I'm interested. I want to see what guild levels and stuff like that. Let's see. Just for fun. I mean, it's beta, my bro. Of course it's just for fun. Where's the guild tab at? Let me see. Here it is. It looks like guild perks are still offline, but that's fine. What the highest levels in this guild? 16 is the highest in this guild. All right, so we're approaching Goldshire, and I want to talk to y'all about one of the greatest, laziest, on the player side, changes that they've done in Cataclysm, and that's my boy right here. The Flight Master in Goldshire that takes you to Stormwind. Stormwind ain't but a 2-minute jog up the road, but they felt like, yo, we're going to put a Flight Master from here to Stormwind. 10 out of 10, Blizzard. I just got to say 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I will say this. The Flightmaster in Goldshire helps a lot better if you're like coming from Red Ridge or Duskwood or something like that. But then again, if you're already questing in those areas, don't really know if you need to come back here. I'm gonna keep it a buck. What am I gonna pick? I'll pick the shield. Why not? Boop. Before I go deep mine. I'm seeing a lot more Worgen than I have, so I'm guessing the Worgen area isn't that bugged, or maybe these people are just lucky. We'll see. But yeah, the Flightmaster in Goldshire, 10 out of 10, best thing they've ever done. Easy. One thing that annoyed me about I gotta pick something that annoyed me about honestly everything Cat of Wrath, TBC, Vanilla is the fact that you can't open the talent tab until 10. Like I get it, you don't have access to talents and stuff like that, but you should at least still be able to see them. At least see what you're getting hyped for. So because I would like to talk about like the talents and stuff like that. But it's cool. It's all good, Blizzard. Oh, actually, I'm 5, so that means let's just check the Paladin trainer to see if I need anything. But yeah, I would like to at least talk about the talents, but I can't open the talent tab. I'd have to drag it from my second screen over here. Don't really want to do that just yet. Once I get into the swing of leveling, we can talk about all that shit. But I guess we get devotion aura. All right, but I guess a quick TLDR. Talents got completely revamped in Cataclysm. So, the big talent trees that we saw in Wrath and I guess to a lesser extent TBC, they got shortened again in Cata. And I have 2 guides up on my channel. I have the Death Knight one, the Blood DK talent build for Cataclysm, and I have the Feral talent build, the Feral Druid tank talent build for Cataclysm. So you can actually get see firsthand like how short the talent trees are in by comparison to like the Wrath talent trees, right? So, and I think that was another welcome change because along with the shortening of the talent trees, level 10 is a big power spike for every single class in Cataclysm. Because at level 10, you get, not only do you get whatever specialization you want, so as an example, this character is going to be prot, you get like 2 to 3 passives associated with that spec specifically, and then you get like 1 big ability, right? So like as an example, on a Disc Priest, if you hit level 10, if you are a priest and you hit level 10 and you select the discipline specialization, you get penance off the rip at level 10. And let me see what else you get, because there's other stuff. Hold on, I don't want to misquote anything on this here internet. But yes, you get penance, you get enlightenment, which is just a passive 15% increased intellect. You get meditation, which allows you to regen some mana while casting, and you get absolution, which, let me see, I don't even know what absolution does. I have to look that up real quick. Absolution enables you to dispel magic to be cast on friendly targets and remove 2 harmful magic effects. So a stronger dispel. Of course, you get access to the mastery that discipline has. But that's not until later levels. But you see what I'm saying? You get 3 passives, strong passives, and penance, right? Now, I don't think you get meditation and absolution immediately at 10. You could, but I think you get enlightenment at 10. And you definitely get penance at 10. But every single spec has this. Like, they get a big ability at 10, and it kind of helps them in the leveling process. I think probably one of the more egregious ones is like Hunters getting explosive shot at 10, like if you spec into survival. I just remember Hunters being demons in PvP and like early arenas. If you ran across a Hunter who had like full heirlooms, like with the heirloom weapon, and they were survival, boy, you was in for a long night, because they was up in the blicky on you immediately before you even get close to them, and it was kind of hard to deal with that. And it was the same thing with priests. Like a Disc Priest with a good powered shield and penance, it was impossible to kill them if they had full heirlooms up. So it was pretty strong. On the flip, there was other strong things too. Like Warriors got Mortal Strike. Like if you spec into arms, you got Mortal Strike at 10, which is kind of nutty. Having a big healing reduction on you was really really crazy, and just a hard hitting ability. Mortal Strike hit really really hard. Paladins getting Avenger Shield was really really cool. Like, so yeah, like the leveling system and like the talent system really kind of got upped in a lot of ways in Cataclysm. I guess I'm going inside here. But like I said, Hunter was kind of like a standout one. Warrior was a standout one because Charge Mortal Strike kind of melted your face if the Warrior was coming off of like that Arcanite Reaper and full heirlooms. What else? Hunter, Warrior, Priest. We already talked about that. I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, I guess Rogues with Shadow Step was pretty annoying too. I'll give them that. Like, Rogues having Shadow Step that early was pretty annoying. Oh, someone came in here and ran through these kobolds. So I guess I should probably turn around before they start respawning on me, and I'm put in a compromising position. So. Whoa, hold up. Oh boy. This might be spooky for your boy. I don't have any healing abilities. Okay, I gotta run. I got to run. Oh, that's a dead end. That's lovely. But Juke game 1,000. And I'll run right outside into some more kobolds. Like, be lit. What is still chasing me? Yeah, be alright. Yeah, that got spooky pretty quick. So one thing I want to talk about is basically how I think Cataclysm is going to be able to exist alongside War Within and Season of Discovery. Now, to be fair, by the time Cataclysm launches, Season of Discovery will be in its end stages. Like, we're going to be, I think Cata launches right before, at least according to the roadmap, Cata launches before the level 60 cap, the level 60 leveling cap. So we'll have Cataclysm first, then we'll get the level 60, the phase 4 cap, and then SoD will be in its end game, really, because we'll probably have, I mean, it was already announced, we're going to have some version of 40-man raiding. It won't be Molten Core, though. So Molten Core will be 20-man, right? I imagine that Blackwing Lair is still going to be 40-man. Not saying that Molten Core isn't an iconic raid, but Blackwing Lair, I think, is a little more iconic than Molten Core for various reasons. And I think they'll probably keep Blackwing Lair at a level 40 prospect. So while Cata's going on, we'll be dealing with that, like getting attuned and, just kind of gearing up and stuff like that. So I think Cataclysm probably won't be as popular as SoD once level 60 hits. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I think that's when, like, for a lot of people, including myself, that's when SoD really starts to play. Because right now, like I said, we're doing leveling raids, right? I mean, Blizzard said this themselves. All this stuff, Nomergon, BFD, whatever the level 50 leveling raid is, in my opinion, I think it's going to be Sunken Temple. But whatever it is, all this stuff is just kind of for play. You're just kind of getting gear to level, if that makes sense, right? Because it's like all of the gear my Warlock has from Nomergon right now at 40 is really only helping me level to 50 faster. I'm not leveling to go into a new tier. In a way I am, right? Because I'm sure a lot of the Nomergon gear will carry over into the level 50 raid. But a lot of it is really just to help me level faster, help me kill things faster. It's not really it's not going from one tier to another. You know what I mean? I'm not going to keep that gear and progress through the level 50 raid. I'm going to just replace it when I get something better. So we're really only gearing to smooth out the leveling process, right? But when level 60 hits, we'll be gearing to actually progress through another tier. So when we're raiding in Molten Core, pardon me, when we're raiding in Molten Core, we're going to be getting the gear to progress through Blackwing Lair, right? To progress through Zul'Gurub, because they said they wanted to make Zul'Gurub a little bit more challenging and kind of its own entity, apart from Blackwing Lair, not just to be used as a catch-up raid. So we're going to be using Molten Core to allow us to progress more into Blackwing Lair and Zul'Gurub. We're going to be using Zul'Gurub and Blackwing Lair to allow us to progress easier into Ruins of Anchorage and Temple of Anchorage if they keep Temple. I think AQ is another one that they're not like. There's no reason to change AQ's level size because Ruins already exist. There's already a 20-man version of AQ, so there will be no reason to change the 40-man version to 20-man. So I think AQ is pretty safe from that. But yeah, we'll be getting the loot from Blackwing Lair and Zul'Gurub to progress through AQ, and once we get into AQ, we're going to be using that loot to eventually progress into Nax. So it's all a big progression thing. I'm about to die. If I get a hyper spawn, I'm finished, but I gotta loot. So yeah, it's all staged progression, right? Molten Core into Blackwing Lair, especially if they keep BWL 40 man. Like if they keep a 40 man, obviously if you double the raid size or double the size of raiders needed to do a specific type of content, that implies that the difficulty level is going to be higher too. So that jump from Molten Core to Blackwing Lair is probably going to be the biggest difficulty spike we'll see. I'm hoping. Actually, it might be. Actually, I'll backtrack it. Maybe Nomer, going from Nomer to whatever the 20-man raid is going to be a big spike. That'll probably be a big jump. But going from Molten Core to Blackwing Lair is probably going to be another big jump too. So once that happens, I think it's going to be hard for Cata to exist simultaneously with SoD, because SoD's new stuff, at the end of the day, they can make all the changes they want. Cataclysm is still something a lot of people have experienced already. So that's what Cata is fighting against. Now, once we get past that, and I'm also on the opinion of that, I don't think SoD is going to do phased style endgame stuff. I think Molten Core will be its own thing. Like the level 60 cap in Molten Core is going to be its own thing. But I don't think they're gonna do. They might treat it the way they treated Hardcore, where all of the raids are open. Once you hit 60, go figure it out. Go get a tune and figure it out. But I think they're gonna do something similar. I don't think they're gonna do that with all the raids. I think, like I said, Molten Core is going to be its own thing, right? Once you hit level 60, Molten Core is gonna be that thing that you do. Once that's done, I think they're going to either have a incredibly sped up phasing, like you're going to have Blackwing Lair and Zul'Gurub, and then a couple weeks later you're going to have AQ, both versions, and then a couple weeks later you're going to have Nax. I think they're going to fast track it, because this is the third time that we're using vanilla content. So how long do you really need? Do you actually really need to phase out each raid? And two, how long do you need it to last? So I think that's why they're going to fast track. Once Blackwing Lair hits, everything is going to be on a fast track. And once that stuff is on a fast track, that's going to be around the time Firelands is coming out. And that's when I think Cata is going to be able to actually, stand on its own with SoD simultaneously. I'm going to be real. Now, on the end of this roadmap, they do say that they have end content updates for SoD. Depending on what that is, determines, for a lot of people, I think, what they mean as far as WoW is concerned, even before you get to War Within. So it's going to be interesting. I said this to a couple friends yesterday about what I think Blizzard is gearing up to do in the future. Is I think they're going to just go to having, like, at least for the future of Classic, because we already know the track that retail is going to be on, right? But for the future of Classic, I think, honestly, they're gearing up to just have server-based expansions. As an example, I think they're going to have 2 servers dedicated to just vanilla stuff. They're going to have a couple servers, not 2 being just an input number, not exactly 2, but they're going to have couple servers dedicated to vanilla stuff. They're gonna have a couple servers dedicated to RAD TBC stuff, a couple servers dedicated to RAD stuff, a couple servers dedicated to Cata stuff, a couple servers dedicated to MOP stuff. Like, they're gonna have stuff just based by server. And if you think about the way WoW is right now, they're not too far off from that already. There's already 4 iterations of WoW right now. There's retail, there's hardcore, there's season of discovery, and there's Wrath Classic, all of which operate on different servers. Like, hardcore and season of discovery aren't on the same servers, right? Wrath Classic and season of discovery aren't on the same servers, right? Each entity of WoW is on a different server. So it's not a far off jump for them to just be like, you know what? Here's our one client for WoW, and you pick the server based off of what expansion you want to progress and play on. I don't think we're far from that. I don't think we're far from that at all. We're a lot closer than what people want to think about it, to be honest with you. And I think if that happens, sorry, I was looking at my phone, but I think if that happens, I think I mean, with everything that Blizzard does, some people are going to hate it, some people are going to love it, some people are just not going to care. I think, however, it'll help streamline the different clients, right? Like, right now I have a PTR client, a beta client, a retail client, a Wrath client, a SoD client, and SoD and hardcore are on the same client. So I won't say that, but it's 5 different things. I think it'll help streamline things on Blizzard's end. So that'll be helpful. But I think we're pretty close to that. I'm pretty sure I get a healing spell. Let me see. I gotta get a healing spell at some point. Yeah, I get Holy Light at level 7. I get Word of Glory at 9. That's crazy. Parries at 10. So what's at 6? What am I getting at 6? I haven't seen anything. Let's go see. No, that's the warrior. Here's the paladin guy. Nothing? Really? Nothing at 6? Is it even level? Oh no, that's 12. Alright, oh, okay, guess we keep going. So that's my whole what the future holds for WoW spiel. But I do believe that we are a lot closer to just picking your expansion or version of WoW that you want to play just based on the servers instead of like these individual clients. I truly believe that. Oh, my buff ran out. Boom. There we go. What happened? I truly and wholeheartedly believe that. Let me see. How long have we been doing this? I think my last topic of discussion that I want to get into is really more focused on phase, not just phase 3 of SOD, but just SOD in its entirety and how I've been feeling about it. I plan on doing a video about this too. But I do want to talk a little bit about it here. And I'm kind of in a weird space with SOD. SOD is a lot of fun, right? It's a lot of fun. I think the way they're executing things are pretty good, actually. I think it had a low entry point. Even at level 40, it still has a low entry point. Like, someone who's never played SOD can just jump in, especially with, the changes that they made where you get 100% increased experience and 300% increased gold from 1 to 39. That's a phenomenal change for anybody who's never played. So the entry point is very, very low for SOD. And the gear, as long as you're consistent, and as long as you're willing just to put down a couple days, not even a couple days of like as an example, if you're like me, right? You have a consistent job that you work, you got kids, you're married, you got responsibilities outside. You can't really sit down. There's days where you can sit down for extended amounts of time, and there's just days where you cannot. There's days where you just can't even log on. You can't even turn on your computer sometimes. SoD still can operate pretty much the same if you can just sit down for I would say 3 to 4 hours a week, maybe 3 to 5 hours a week. If you can do that, SoD can still work out very well for you. It's low entry point. It's pretty easy to gear. The raids are on a 3-day lockout, so there's always something going on. It's worked wonders. What am I doing? I'm running around in circles. It's worked wonders to allow as many people to start and kind of get a feel, get their feet wet without this laundry list of things to do, like some earlier, expansions in WoW have done, right? So I think that was a great thing that they did, right? However, if you have the time to dedicate to raiding and to building your character and stuff like that, you kind of burn through what you got to do pretty quickly. Like me, I'm pretty goal oriented. Whenever I do something, I try to make a short term and a long term goal list. So when I was considering playing a warrior as my main on my on SoD, I had a short term list. What do I need to do? Okay, today I can only play for X amount of time. I'm gonna try to hit 30. Next day when I can play, I'm going to try to hit 33. The next day when I play, I'm going to try to hit 39. Boom, now I'm 40. Okay, today I'm going to run a BFD and I'm going to try to get friendly with this reputation. Okay, that's done. Now I'm going to try to get these. Next day, I'm going to, I'm going to put some time in and go get these 5 runes. Boom, that's done. Like, if you play it like that, you can only get good results, right? So that's how I did it. But because I was able to give a little bit more time here and there once things got done in my real life, I kind of burned through you kind of get burned through it quickly. And I don't want to say burned out because I never really got tired of playing SoD, but I found myself, once my goal list was completed or it became drastically shorter, I kind of found myself saying, yo, what am I doing? Like, what else is there to do, right? And now I'm at the point where my warlock is 95% bis. Like, I have most of the items that I want from Nomergon. So now I'm looking at it like, okay, what do I need to do now? Right? Can I fight Princess? It's level 9. We're going past Princess for now. We're going to come back. But I'm looking at it like, yeah, what am I supposed to do now? Because I'm at a point where I have most of the gear from Nomergon. I could never raid Nomergon for the rest of the phase, and I'd be already set up for phase 3. Like, my warlock is just really, really geared. I have all of the runes saved for Invocation, which I'm never going to use as a meta tank. So unless they change it or there's a new build that emerges that requires you to use Invocation, I have 17 out of 18 runes. I have max profession, so like I have a solid amount of gold. Like, I've checked all of the things that the regular or average raider would probably want. A high amount of gold, a pretty decent gear list. Like, these are things that people, aspire to do. And now I'm just looking at it like, okay, well, how long does this phase last again? So that's what I think Blizzard, not Blizzard, but for lack of a better term, Blizzard definitely for SoD definitely is catering to the newer people, but for people who can put the time in, there's really not much there for SoD once you get above the gear not even requirements. I won't even call it that because, like I said before, we're really just collecting gear just to make our leveling experience better. We're not going to use all of this gear in Nomergon in the level 50 raids. Some of it is going to transfer over, not all of it. I would say 85% of it you're going to replace. 90% of it you're going to replace. So that's what you got to look at. Is like, for the people who can put the time in to SoD, more so than the average person, there's not really a lot there once you complete your goals. And I would hopefully I would want phase 3 to kind of be like the point where it's like, all right, here's the phase where you're going to get the most investment. You're going to get the most return on investment for the time that you're putting in your character. I would like phase 3 to be at least the start of that. Obviously, there's still another level phase to happen after level 50. But I feel like 50 is now the point where it's like, all right, it should be a little bit more tight knit on the entry point. Like, I get it. They're probably going to do another leveling boost, right? They're going to do, not leveling boost, but experience buff to help people catch up. So if you are starting at level 1, at least the leveling is a little bit faster. But the level 50 bracket, to me, should be the start of, we're going to rein in we're going to make the point of entry, the cost of entry for SOD a little bit more stricter now. And we're going to put that focus into, if you're playing the game, if you're doing these things consistently, you're going to get more out of it. I know that sounds very elitist and very, very like, oh, you don't care about the casual player. Like, listen, I'm a casual player. I put a little bit more time in maybe than the next casual player, but I still consider myself a casual player. Like, I'm not in a speedrunning guild. I didn't get server. I didn't even do like the first 2 lockouts of No More Gone or BFD. Like, I was still collecting runes and trying to figure out meta and like I was still doing all that stuff. So I definitely consider myself a casual player. But I put enough time into where now I'm at a point where I have the gear that I could want. Like, my Warlock is missing like the epic ring from Thermoplug and one of the trinkets, right? Like, but I'm good on both. I'm good on my rings. I have the PvP rings. I have the Void Pearl and I have the Blood Moon trinket, right? So I can never get another drop from No More Gone again and be cool, be good. So now I'm at a point like, well, what else? And then the next best thing is like, oh, well, go level an ult. But it's like, I'm leveling an ult to do what with it, right? Like, yeah, I could say farm gold. Like, you can never have too much gold. So I could level an ult to be my alchemy, bot or my mining bot. I could do that. I could very much so do those things. But it's like, I don't really know if I care to do that, to be honest with you. So I think that's like the biggest shortcoming for SOD, at least in its current iteration, right? At least in phase 2. Not saying it's going to stay like this, but at least in phase 2, I think the biggest shortcoming is that there's a low cost of entry, but there's not really a big return on investment. Because you could be a minimalist. Like I said, you could play like 3 to 5 hours a week, an hour a day, and still be where I'm at right now, right? And I've put more than an hour a day of time into my Warlock. So that's, I would say, is one of the shortcomings that I would hope to see fixed, or at least curbed a little bit. I won't say fixed, but curbed a little bit coming in phase 3. Because now we're kind of reaching the point where it's like, all right, things shouldn't be just smooth, brain dead easy. Like, No More Gone was just, it was more difficult, I'll give it, than BFD, but it's not challenging in the slightest. Like, it's a step up from BFD, but that's probably by proxy because it should be. And honestly, I don't even think it's that much of a step up. I'll give it this. Thermoplug is probably a way harder fight than Akumai was, but that's only because he consistently summons Az throughout the entirety of the fight, and there's really no way to cheese Thermoplug. He's a long fight. Like, you can't. He has intermission phases. You can't just like blap him to death. He has stopping points. Once he hits 50, he goes into his intermission. So he does have stopping points. But there's no way to cheese Thermoplug. Like with Akumai, a Paladin tank can get all the stacks until intermission, bubble the stacks off, get all the stacks, and he's dead, right? If your DPS is even halfway decent, you can just do the Paladin cheese. You can't really do that with Thermoplug. So I give Thermoplug that, and that his intermission and the fact that he's spawning bombs the whole fight is probably his difficulty level. Now, of course, these things can be mitigated, right? Like, I'm a demo tank, so a lot of times when I'm in No More Gone, I just kill bombs the whole time. Like, put in my debuffs, make sure my pet is on the boss, so my caster boys can still get the demonic pack. But I'm just killing bombs the whole time. So what am I doing here? Why am I standing here? What is happening? What is this? Oh, I'm supposed to kill the boars. Didn't abort me. Okay. So yeah. So I'm hoping with the level 50 raid, which again I think is Sunken Temple. I'm hoping with that. I'm hoping with the higher level increase. I'm hoping with all of that stuff, Blizzard starts to kind of rein it in on making it easier for entry points and kind of just increasing how much return you get on your character. That's all. Because now with level 50, we'll actually be gearing up to do Molten Core. And that's when I think I would like to assume that gear is actually going to matter. Whatever gear we get from the level 50 raid is actually going to matter. Oh, shit, I died. Whatever gear we get from the level 50 raid is going to matter. I'm moving incredibly fast. This is crazy. Did they always do it like this? As a ghost? I know ghosts move faster, but this I feel like I'm moving like at 150% increased movement speed. I think ghost is only supposed to be like 25 or 50. It's crazy. But anyway, yeah, with the level 50 raid, we are gearing for Molten Core, right? So if you go in there with some bullshit gear, you're probably going to get bullshit results. So I would imagine that they're going to make the level 50 raid a little bit more challenging, right? Way more challenging than the two preceding raids, as a hope. And they would, like, again, make the time you're investing in said raid more fruitful. And I think with that, they probably, I could be wrong on this, but because we've had 20 mans on 3-day lockouts like Zogarub, but maybe they go back to traditional resets, like it's a 7-day lockout. But then again, I feel like that just slows down the pacing. So in my opinion, I think they should just keep the 3-day lockout, even though a 3-day lockout increases burn rate, but I'd rather have a burn rate than just a slog. When I do this raid this one time, I can't do it again, especially if we're full clearing, right? If we're full clearing the level 50 raid in one night, it's going to feel terrible. It's going to feel terrible, especially coming from 2 prior phases where you could do the thing that gives the best gear. You can do that twice a week. So it's going to feel terrible. Boars. I got to be careful. These boars was slapping me. I can't remember now. I'm still level 6. Like, and I don't have Holy Light yet. And I got a bag full of gear that I'm not using too, because I'm a great WoW player, guys. Greatest NA. Jesus Christ. With all this armor that I could have been using. Okay. I want to sell all this other stuff. All right. Now I look somewhat decent. Do I not have pants? I guess I don't. All right. Do we need more board? Yeah, I need one more board to kill. I like how, I don't know if y'all caught that, but I like how my scrolling battle text notification thing said I got holy power and I don't have anything to spend it on. Like, let me see. See how it says gain holy power? There's nothing to spend it on. That's funny. That's cute. What up, Zaffy? I'm chilling, just enjoying the Cataclysm beta. Trying to decide whether or not I'm gonna actually play Cataclysm for real. I don't know. I'm still on the fence right now. My WoW totem pole of what I'm gonna most likely to play to least likely to play is War Within, Season of Discovery, Cataclysm. War Within being the top because I really did enjoy the seasons that I played Mythic Plus on. I still gotta get 3K IO. I'm like 30 points away from like hitting 3K on Mythic Plus, and I just kind of just immediately stopped when SoD came out. So War Within I'm gonna return to. SoD's just pretty much taking up my time. Where am I running? I'm running the wrong way. Nah, actually I should be okay. I should be able to turn this quest in. Note to William. Actually, no, we're gonna go back this way because I'm level 7 now. No, I'm not level 7 yet. I gotta kill one more thing. I'll kill one more thing. I'll hit 7, and then I'll get Holy Light, and then I'll go do all that stuff. But yeah, I'm waiting on. That's my totem pole. So War Within's at the top of that list. SOD's in the middle. Kata's at the bottom, and that's really because I played Kata through its entirety as a pretty hardcore raider. I hope so. It looks promising. It looks pretty promising. They're doing a lot of decent things. I did see a lot of the hero talents. Some of them look phenomenal. Some of them looks like they got to go back to the drawing board with it. Like I was looking at the shaman one for the Farseer. A lot of that stuff looks great, and then some of the talents just aren't equal. Like some of them really it becomes. Some of the talents are choices, but it's not really a choice. It's more of a quiz. It's like there's a right answer and a wrong answer here. And talents like that never feel good. So I hope they kind of relook at it. Like one of the shaman ones is like you choose between, it's not even a choice. It's a difference. It's a separation between the spec that you play. So if you're an elemental shaman, the talent reduces the cooldown off of your totems by 10 seconds each time you proc this thing. But if you're a resto shaman, each time you proc the thing, it reduces the cooldown on Riptide, which is just like, yo, Blizzard, has anyone at your company played a resto shaman? Number one, most of the times resto shamans take Echo of Elements, which gives you 2 charges of Riptide. Number two, Riptide is like a 6-second cooldown. So why do we really need CDR on something that was already up all the time? There are so many other buttons that a resto shaman has that would have benefited from CDR, and Riptide isn't even top 30 on that list. So they got to go back with that one. They could have put it on Healing Tide Totem. They could have put it on Astral Shift. They could have put it on Spirit Link. They could have put it on Spirit Walker's Grace. They could have put it on so many other things, and they put it on Riptide. Crazy to me. Crazy. Started playing WoW. Cataclysm. Pick out a classic. We understand how to play it. So I started in Wrath. Cata was, like I said this earlier in the stream. Cata was a really, really fun expansion. I think the reason why it got so much flack is because it just wasn't Wrath. Wrath was the best at the time. Wrath was the best expansion. It was the best PC game. Damn near. It had 13 million subscribers or 12 million. One of those, some huge number, right? So, Cata was. It's hard to come off of your best work. Like the next thing that you produce is always going to get harshly judged and always going to have an uphill battle. And I think that was a large part of why people just kind of frowned upon Cata, because it just wasn't Wrath, which is unfair, but I mean, that's how life goes sometimes. So Cata just kind of had an uphill battle from the door. But like I said, Cata laid the foundation for a lot of things in WoW, even till this day. Like, till this day in Dragonflight, there are guild perks from Cataclysm. Yeah, have group of travels gone, but guess what? Mass res is in the game because every healer has it. You know what I mean? Cash flows in the game. Increased experiences in the game. This thing, like the updated quest thing. This isn't questy. This is Cata. This is them updating the quest thing in Cata. Oh, hold up. So, yeah, guild perks are gonna be great. But yeah, Cata laid a lot of foundation for a lot of stuff. And I think one thing Cata Classic is going to do is bring that stuff to light. Like, oh yeah, this was brought. Like, I haven't played the beta a long time. I just got it the other day, and I only leveled like a hunter to level 8. But one thing that was a point in contention for original Cata release was hunters going from mana to focus. I know a lot of hunters cried real tears because they lost mana. To me, mana was never better than focus, ever, in life, on any occasion for hunters. So I don't know why. And I think when people play Cata, they're going to realize that, oh yeah, focus is way better than mana was. So, let me sell all this stuff because... I gotta look at my bags a little bit better. I had a whole nother bag that I could have just been using. All right, let's sell all this stuff. Is this a belt that I need? Nope. Sell, and we double sell. All right. And the grind continues. But, yeah, I think Cata's going to remind people that, hey, I wasn't as bad as what you may have thought. And, I mean, hindsight is 20/20, right? Like, I feel like, depending on how long WoW in its entirety goes, some people are going to look at the least favorite expansions and be like, you know what? That was actually pretty good. Some people might look at Shadowlands that way. Like, I didn't like Shadowlands, but some people are going to look back and be like, you know, Covenant abilities were kind of cool. The aesthetics of Shadowlands was kind of cool. Like, I'll give Shadowlands this, and Blizzard kind of always does this well. The raids in Shadowlands are great. I'll give them that. Like, the raiding scape of Shadowlands was really, really good. Castle Nathria is one of the best raids they've made in a long time. The Sepulchre, the jailer raid. Like, I didn't personally raid that. I stopped when what was Sylvanas' raid? Sanctum of Domination. I stopped after that, so I didn't get a chance to experience the jailer raid. But I hear that one was I watched a little bit of the World First Race, but I hear that one was the hardest World First Race they've ever done. The jailer was the hardest fight that they've ever done. Anduin was I heard about Anduin. I heard horror stories about Anduin in his fight. They nerfed him like 1,000 times. So I hear horror stories about Anduin, but every hindsight is 2020. So I think when people are gonna play Cataclysm, they're gonna be like, "Yo, this was actually really good." They're gonna remember all of the great things that Cata did that Wrath, TBC, and Vanilla just didn't do. Now that I'm level 7, I still don't have Holy Light, but can I kill Princess? No? Should I try? Should I attempt? We're gonna try it. Me, myself, if I do, in some weird way, if I do end up playing Cata as my main version of WoW to play, I'm torn between continuing my tanking journeys, because I've been tanking for some years now, or just going to Warlock, which is my favorite caster, and attempting to get a Dragon's Wrath, which is very unlikely, because I'm not part of a guild. My guild stopped raiding. My guild that I was raiding with in Wrath has stopped raiding. We've been playing SoD, and there's no inkling that we're going to go back to Cata, right? So to join a guild and be considered for a legendary when I'm going to be the fresh new face coming off, and I'm just going to be a DPS, right? I'm not playing an important role, is almost next to impossible. So I don't think that's going to be a real. But I enjoy Warlock so much that it probably don't even matter. But what'll keep me on tanking is, number one, especially for like Blood DK. Blood DK becomes incredibly fun in Cataclysm. Blood DK and Feral Druids are like cream of the crop when it comes to tanking. Like they are incredibly strong. What do I need here? Boots, no bracers. Yeah, bracers. They're incredibly strong. I mean, all the things are really strong. Don't get me wrong. Like when I was progressing in Cata, like our Alliance first heroic Deathwind kill, the Madness kill, we had a prot warrior. So any tank can do it. It just takes the pilot of said class to be really good. But Blood DK was really strong. Blood DK was really, really strong. Feral Druid was really, really strong. Feral Tank, I should say, was really, really strong. Feral Druid DPS was good too, but Feral Tank was really strong. Like their Savage defense and their mastery was incredible. Like it was really, really good. But I thought about doing that. Like if I was to tank, I'd probably be a Death Knight. If I was to DPS, I'd be a Warlock, and if I was to heal, I'm torn between Resto Druid and Resto Shaman, because both of those are my favorite healers to play. Resto Shaman isn't the strongest healer in Cata. It's not the weakest, and it does bring Spirit Link Totem, which in and of itself is already a plus. But Druid, I think, is the stronger healer. Now, they're not Holy Priests, they're not Holy Paladins. Those healers are really strong. But and by virtue, Cata healing is just different. Cata healing isn't like TBC, Wrath, or Vanilla healing. Cata healing kind of put the dial up to 12. Like, because just looking at a lot of number one, with Cata healing, there was a lot of raid-wide things that were damn near insta-kills. Things that just did so much damage that if you didn't have a defensive up or a raid-wide defensive up, somebody was getting smoked. I think one of the probably the more infamous things is like Nefarian's Crackle. That ability was like really, really hard hitting for almost no reason. Like especially on heroic. Like normal, you have a hunter throw up Aspect of the Wild, you can kind of shave it off. But on heroic, Aspect of the Wild was damn near mandatory. Like you needed that. Alakir just did a lot of just chain lightning AoE damage to the raid. Like Cata healing was a different beast. And I think people are gonna realize that. But of course, when you have raids that do a lot of damage, you gotta have the healers be able to compensate. So we saw a lot of power creep come from healers. Like I said, Spirit Link Totem. Powered Barrier was an egregious one. 30% DR for everybody who's standing under it. Druid's getting Tree Form. Even though Tree Form, like, that was another thing people cried real tears about, was Druids losing the permanent Tree Form and Tree Form becoming a cooldown. And I can kind of understand it, right? Like, at surface level, Tree Form, and like, let's use Wrath levels. Tree Form gave what? A 6% healing aura to everybody, right? It increased your healing done by 20% if you were in while you were in Tree Form, right? And I think the Wrath version didn't slow you down. It didn't, like the TBC version, I think slowed you down. Like while you're in Tree Form, you moved 20% slower, but the Wrath version didn't. So having this unique, like just aesthetically, having this unique form that increased your healing and increased everyone's healing taken, I get it. But Cata Tree Form was dope. That cooldown was phenomenal to me. And in my opinion, for aesthetics, it allowed Druids to actually see their gear that they got. They can actually use Transmog. Like, I don't know. To me, I liked Tree Form, the original one, but I didn't think the new Tree Form was that bad. I think people just don't like change. People just don't like change. And what am I doing? I'm running around in circles again. Goldtooth. He's not in the cave anymore. They moved him. Yeah, he's over there. I was heading the right way the whole time. But yeah, people just don't like change. So when they see that change and they're not accustomed to it, I can see it being a little bit jarring. Slam. Boom. Easy. I like that they moved him out here and not put him like up this cave's ass, like all the way in the back. So I like that. This Druids get cat form this early? He's level 13. That's crazy. That's crazy. I didn't even realize that. Yet another good change that people did for Cataclysm. I'm 7. I didn't even buy Holy Light. Oh, did I? Oh, I did. I'm bugging. I'm tripping. Big tripping. There we go. Continue. Complete quest. All right, we go back this way. Put myself on auto run, and you know what I'll do? I'll bring up. Let me see if I can shrink this up. Hold on, let me fix myself. See if I can shrink this down a little bit so I can show on stream here. I'll run this way. So like this right here is the paladin tree, and I'm already stuck. Look at that. So this is what I was talking about before with the shortened talent trees. Like these are more reminiscent of TBC talent trees than Rat talent trees. Like the Rat talent trees are really long and shit, but Cata talent trees are really short. I'm running into something. Oop, there we go. Also, I gotta change my Hearthstone, so that's gotta change too. I should probably buy a one-hander because at this rate, I don't think I'm going to get one. So maybe I should buy one. Weaponsmith. There we go. And I'll sell this. I'll sell this. I'll sell this. Easy. But yeah, now that I'm in town and I'm safe, I can actually show it. So yeah, this is like the Cataclysm trees. And the reason why I'm not using the Wowhead one, I know Wowhead recently put up their own Cataclysm calculators, because Wowhead doesn't show this part. Wowhead only shows just the talent tree itself. It doesn't show what you get when you actually select the spec. So this is what I was speaking about before. when talking about the talent tree changes in Cataclysm is that at level 10 you get access to the specs like you would normally, but each spec has its own individual big ability that you get and passives that you get. Now, all of the masteries are unlocked at like level 80, so you don't get the masteries off rip. But once I hit 10 on this paladin, if I select protection, I get Avenger Shield off rip. I don't know if I get Vengeance off rip. I think I get Touched by Light and I get Judgments of the Wise. But I still get Avenger Shield, which is a really big ability to have at 10, right? And what I was saying before, let me find Hunter. Like Hunters were demons in PvP. You get a fully heirloomed Hunter who selects survival. They get Explosive Shot, which does a phenomenal amount of damage, especially at those low armor levels and low resistant levels. You get Explosive Shot, which is just trucking people, and you get Into the Wilderness, which increases your agility, right? Marksman wasn't a slouch either. You got Aim Shot too, but Aim Shot was a long cast time. Explosive Shot was instant. It was instant doom. Priests were another problem that I had mentioned, because if you select Disc, which a lot of priests did, you got Penance. You got Penance coming off of Powered Shield, which was already strong, and you get a lot of good passives. Warriors were another one. Having Mortal Strike at the level, what is it, 15 to 19 bracket for PvP for when you're doing Battlegrounds? Like, you're getting melted with Mortal Strike if someone has that Arcanite Reaper heirloom. Absolutely melted. In some ways, Ret is the same way. Templar's Verdict is slamming you. So, the talent thing is really, really, really good. I think it's good. I can't say that, objectively, but I think it's good. Some people didn't like it because of all the things I just listed out. Like, they thought Hunters having Explosive Shot was a little too much. They thought Priests were pretty much unkillable if they penance themselves and put a shield up. They thought Warriors were just melting faces, which they were. But everything was strong back then. Like, there was very few specs that I think were lackluster. I think Holy Paladin was a little lackluster. Like, Holy Shock, I don't know. Like, granted, what other ability are they gonna get? But to me, Holy Shock was kind of meh, right? Like by comparison, like if you look at the other healers, like Penance and Holy Shock, I think Penance obviously is the winner there, right? Like, Druid, Resto Druid gets Swiftmend, right? Like, Swiftmend is Swiftmend and Holy Shock are kind of similar, but Swiftmend is a way stronger heal. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. But Paladins also get Word of Glory too. So, Holy Shock, Word of Glory isn't nothing to slouch at. So I can't wait. One thing about, just talking about UI, just the interface, the updates that Kata did, I like how they changed, each specialization, you can see what you're going to get the next level. Like, you don't have to be at a trainer. You don't have to download any add-ons, because right now I have the What's Training add-on on SoD, so I can see what's coming up. But here I can just open the spell book and I can see, okay, Word of Glory is coming at level 9. Like in the red tree, Retribution, my next big red thing is Retribution Aura at 26. For protection, I get Parry at 10. Like, I can see all this stuff. I like that. I like just the little aesthetics there. Blessing of Kings at 22. Speaking of buffs, I did a video, which I've been trying to update and streamline because it's a pretty long video, but I did a video a while ago talking about all of the Cataclysm buffs, like the changes that they did to the buffs, some buffs that went away, some that are here. I did a video on that. I wanted to do a shorter version video of that, but I guess I've just kind of been letting that one breathe. And buff consolidation was a big point of contention, because on one hand, it allowed you to not miss out on things. Like, as an example, Paladins for a long time were the only class to bring the stat buff, the King's buff, right? No other class bought 5 or 10% to your stats. But in Cataclysm, that buff, the King's buff, is also brought by Druids, which is Mark of the Wild. So on one hand, you have the people like, well, that's great. I don't have to shop for a paladin just to get this specific buff. On the other hand, you have people like, oh, well, now Druids and paladins are basically the same, which is hyperbole, but I see what they're trying to say. So the way they changed buffs and buff consolidation, stuff like that, like that was another point of contention. I think I've said this before. I think that kind of kicked off. Cata was like the kickoff point for a lot of shit, good or bad. And I think one of the bad things is Cata to me was the kickoff point to a lot of homogenization between the classes. Because when you have multiple classes bringing the same buff, you kind of lose a little bit of your diversity. But then again, you have hunters who can just bring almost every single buff or debuff with pets. So it's like, screw diversity, right? Let's see. Oh, what? I'm going the wrong way. Going the wrong way. I hope they at some point, whenever they update the beta client, but I hope I can get my add-ons to work here, because it's not bad playing like this, but I just miss Questy, I miss Plater, I miss LUI, like I want all my other typical UI stuff. Not having it just feels odd. I'm missing like crazy on here. Let me loot this pup. But yeah, Billy Club, is that good? That's a main hand open. That's better than my damn Gladius that I spent real money on. Jesus. See, I should have waited. Never pay for what you get for free. That's the rule of the day. Stay safe out there, kings. Oh, looks like I'm gonna get this quest for the free ski. Oh, nope, there's a Murloc here. I guess we're fighting. Oh, he walked away. You know what time it was. Oh, you gonna wait till I? That's corny. Try to sneak me. You try to sneak me. It's saying full holy power, like I have something to spend it on. Not yet. Not yet. Scrolling battle text. Not yet. I actually have to kill this for a quest. Turn Murloc fins. I guess we're doing it. I probably shouldn't engage with this guy at half health. That probably was a questionable decision. Hunter's gonna lend me a hand. I feel that. Appreciate the help. Let's go ahead and heal myself real quick. This man, he'll be all right. All right, I guess we Murloc hunting now. Whoa, not two at a time though. Let's see if I can. Yeah, Juke game 1,000. They can't even stop me. Whoa, that was a crazy hyper spawn. That was crazy. Let's see if I can get. No. Fight me. There we go. Yo, I should probably run too, because as soon as he gets out of combat, they're going to head for me. See? WoW mechanics at its finest. I'm not gonna even try them at level 8 because that other paladin was level 9 and he got smoked. Oh, the other one left? Oh, yeah. Now we fighting you. Oh, you lucky I don't have interrupt. You're lucky. You got lucky. Oh, what? What is this? Right, we good. We here. Okay. I feel like there's no real difference between a Murloc fin and a Torn Murloc fin. They should have just allowed either one for this quest. But let me see. Think this is a good stopping point here. I do have to step away. I'll probably stream a little bit later or maybe put up a video. But I appreciate everyone for joining. If you caught this the whole way through, I appreciate it. If you catch this on the watch back, I appreciate it. We're going to be doing more Cata stuff, more SoD stuff. You know what time it is. You know the vibes. As always, y'all been great. I've been Soul, and I'm out. Peace.